Melbourne City are A-League Men's Champions for 2024-25 after defeating Melbourne Victory, their rivals, in the grand final, 1-0. And I'm going to say it right now, that was one of the most heroic performances we've seen in a grand final in A-League history. Melbourne City, that was a near perfect performance for me. Overall, defensively, the way they controlled the game, going forward, they looked dangerous. It just took the one goal in the end. But that is football, man. That is the difference in the end. Jonathan Cohen with the goal early on in this match, just 10 minutes in, one of the earliest goals in A-League Men's grand final history. And it was enough to get the win over Melbourne Victory. Drop your thoughts on this game in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. Lineups, obviously a lot of drama and discussion in regards to, you know, what the teams were going to look like, considering the amount of injuries heading into this weekend. Nishan Velupillay not in the grand final tonight. That was a big call there by Melbourne Victory. They were racing to get him fit for this weekend. Weren't able to do it. He wasn't even on the bench. They did make a big change in Casey Boss returning to the lineup, which was a big boost for Melbourne Victory. We know they started with a back three against Auckland in the second leg semi-final. But Casey Boss coming in, it wasn't enough in the end. But for Melbourne City, Matt Leckie started his first start in some time. We've seen him come off the bench in the last couple of weeks. And we talked about it in the lead up to this game during the week, whether Matt Leckie could come in to start this game, considering the magnitude of this match. And I tell you what, he was one of the best players on the park tonight for Melbourne City. And that was the thing for Melbourne City. Just about everywhere on the park, they did get the better of their opponents, you know, all the players there for Melbourne Victory. There wasn't a poor performance from a Melbourne City player on the night. Look, from the back, we just have to acknowledge that defence from City, Atkinson and Beige in the fullback positions, incredible tonight. Huge efforts from those players. And it's funny, we haven't really been talking about Nathaniel Atkinson in a Socceroos capacity recently. I'm not sure why he hasn't really been in the conversation. But I tell you what, after tonight's performance alone, there is no reason why Nathaniel Atkinson shouldn't be named in a Socceroos squad tomorrow. Matt Leckie and Ugarkovic in midfield, working so hard. Andreas Kuhn ahead, and then Max Caputo leading the line. And Tilly and Cohen, as again we talked about pre-game, they are just so dangerous going forward, pressing on the counter-attack. And it was Jonathan Cohen, right place, right time to finish off the goal for Melbourne City. Nicely worked goal as well. Beige involved, who had one of his best games in a Melbourne City shirt tonight. Andreas Kuhn there. Obviously, the initial shot hitting the crossbar, but the follow-up going in. And I'll tell you what, City had a couple huge chances in that second half to finish it off. Max Caputo with a golden opportunity, which he missed, and it was interesting. He was subbed off literally moments later, so I had to wonder if that had something to do with it. And Jonathan Cohen absolutely should have made it to a clear header in front of goal. So Melbourne City could have won this grand final 2 or 3-0. And we should highlight as well, it's been some time since City have defeated Victory in a Melbourne derby. This has been a long time coming for Melbourne City, but they have done it on the ultimate stage. But for Melbourne Victory, they didn't do anything wrong tonight necessarily. Look, there were a couple of moments where maybe you thought they could have been a bit more effective going forward in attack, but it was less a matter of Melbourne Victory having a poor performance and Melbourne City just simply not giving them an inch. In all the duels, in structurally the way they set up Melbourne City, they barely gave Victory a chance. And that is summed up in the statistics for me. 14 shots for Victory. They did have more shots in the game. Only 3 of those on target. Patrick Beach, Melbourne City goalkeeper, who's been fantastic this season, was barely tested tonight. And this is a Victory attack with the likes of Bruno Fornaroli, Virgos off the bench, Machash, Piscopo coming off the bench as well, Arzani, Santos. And they were really unable to test Patrick Beach tonight in Melbourne City's goal. City with 8 shots, 4 on target. You can see possession was pretty even. It was a gritty performance. It wasn't about showing, fancy moves and flourish in the attacking third. It was about grit and determination. It was about Matt Leckie having half his face bandaged up because he was bleeding from the nose. And these players digging deep, going in for the challenges and not giving Melbourne Victory anything in this game. You could see how Melbourne City were obviously committing a lot of fouls in the end. 19 fouls committed by Melbourne City, 15 by Melbourne Victory. It was a physical game. It was an aggressive game. Of course, no surprise, given that not only is it a grand final, but it is a Melbourne derby as well. One of the biggest Melbourne derbies ever, if not the biggest, of course. An A-League Men's Grand Final, Melbourne City, winners in the end. In terms of my pick for player of the match, look, there's a number of players who could go to. It could be Leckie, it could be Bajic. Atkinson was incredible. I probably would go Matt Leckie. I just think what he did to start his first game in some time here, in the heart of midfield, and not allow Victory anything. Zinedine Machash was entering this game with fine form. Couple goals already this final series, and he was silenced in this grand final. These Victory attackers were silenced in this game tonight. They were unable to influence this game. And this is a Victory side who are entering this game coming off an incredible final series, defeating Wanderers away, defeating the Premiers Auckland away after trailing in the semi-finals. And they were unable to penetrate Melbourne City. What a team. What an effort tonight. Deserved winners for me, Melbourne City. And of course, we shouldn't forget Melbourne Victory. Victory fans will not like to be reminded of this, of course, but 2 consecutive grand final defeats. The last 2 A-League Men's Grand Finals, Victory have lost both. Where did Victory go from here, man? Because, look, we know they're so good and so experienced when it comes to final series, but they do not want to make this a habit now, getting to the final day and unable to make the breakthrough in the end. Melbourne City are champions, not only of Melbourne, but they are champions of the A-League Men's competition.